But while we're on this subject, somebody who's 9 years his senior is UK fighter heavyweight Joe Joyce, who's 39 years old. Former Team GB boxer, won silver in Rio 2016, has been involved in some really entertaining, fantastic fights. And then in 2023, he got beaten by Zhilei Zhang, got knocked out in the 6th round. Then he rematched him, and then he got knocked out in the 3rd round. And then he had an awful fight back against Cash Ali. And then he fought Derek Chisora just a couple of months ago at London's O2 Arena. And I was there, lucky enough to be a few feet away and watching him, and he didn't look himself. There used to be a bit of a joke that Joe Joyce blocks punches with his head and he could take the punishment. But after those Zhang fights, he had, it seemed that his punch resistance had kind of deteriorated quite a considerable amount. But I was working for Frank Warren's Queensbury Promotions on Saturday, and I got asked to go and interview Joe Joyce live at ringside. And I was in the moment. We just watched a couple of the heavyweight fights, which we'll speak about in a bit. Joe's a heavyweight, and I said to Joe about those and how exciting it was, and the atmosphere was electric. And I said, I wouldn't be doing my job properly if I didn't ask you this. What's the plans for 2025, and what can you share with us? Now, I know what the plans are for 2025. Joe wasn't going to let on and let the viewers know that. But he said, there's still life in me yet. I've still got it in me. And I said, I'm glad to hear it. You know, you're entertaining, whatever else I said. And then he kind of finished off the sentence. When I was speaking to him, he didn't seem like very, inverted commas, punch drunk. He seemed pretty with it. I didn't really notice anything else. And then when I've watched the clip back, which I've seen on Instagram earlier, it's been viewed 117,000 times. He like the comments are, he sounds shot to bits, he sounds punch drunk, he sounds this, he sounds that. And I instantly felt regret of saying, oh, we love to see it, because I feel like I'm encouraging him to get back into the ring. But at 39 years old, couple of really, really heavy, horrible knockdowns by Zhang. Do you think it's wise for Joe Joyce to fight again, or would you like to see him at his age call it a day?
There are fights that I might salivate at, but I don't think it is healthy for him to go forward, because when I salivate at those fights, I'm imagining the Joe Joyce that we once knew and not the Joe Joyce that he has since become. It's funny you talk about him blocking punches with his face. You remember his nickname and the costume that he would come out to. He called himself the Juggernaut, based off of the villain in the Marvel Universe. And that villain's superpower and his armor was the ability to take an inordinate amount of punishment without getting hurt. And that is what Joe Joyce did. That is part of how he beat Daniel Dubois. He took a lot of punishment, and then he came back and just broke Dubois down. He had those wins over Carlos Takam and Joseph Parker. But then against Zhilei Zhang, those 2 knockouts, it just showed that there is nothing on this earth that is impenetrable forever. I mean, I've been to the Grand Canyon this year. Bit by bit, the Colorado River broke down all that rock and made this giant gap in the earth. I'm concerned that Joe Joyce, his pinnacle came so late in his career that he feels the allure of getting more paydays and will continue on, but it will not physically be able to do that for much longer, if not now. And that could further harm his physical health and, going to what we were talking about, his mental health.
I think in a way we're all hypocrites, boxing fans, because there's all the people who have commented on that video and said how punch drunk Joe is and that he's shot to bits and this, that and the other. I mean, he's always had a certain way of speaking anyway. So that hasn't, helped with people's thoughts. But I don't think he was speaking as clearly as he may well have been 5 years ago. But I reckon 99% of the people who made those comments and me saying what I've just said in the way that I feel, will still watch Joe Joyce no matter what fight he's in, and still a lot of the time enjoy it, unless it's really kind of watch through your fingers stuff. And we've all watched those kinds of fights before. But yeah, I just think that was an important subject, and it was kind of segued nicely from the Gervonta Davis stuff. And who knows? I mean, let's move on. But